Hi guys, welcome back. Hope you're good. I am going to be doing a Q&A today. I asked over on Instagram for some questions and there's lots to get through. I've just filmed a video there which was favourites, and honest to God is about an hour long, so if I'm a bit delirious it's because I've been talking to myself to a camera for over an hour. That'll be the reason why. If you're new here, then welcome. My name's Ash. I've got 2 kids. If you don't already follow my channel, we make all different kinds of videos over here. Over the last year it's been a bit quieter than usual, but we make a lot of home, family, vlogs, beauty, cleaning, that kind of content. So if you do like that and it sounds like a bit of you, then click the subscribe button. I would absolutely love to have you here long term. The first question is taking me back in time a little bit. It's asking, how did you cope with 2 babies close in age, because I am due my second when the first one turns 2. So to give a bit of background, if you don't already know, then I found out I was pregnant with Charlie on Ella's first birthday. So between them, I get this wrong all the time, it's like 19 months. There's really not a lot between them at all. And actually, if it wasn't for Ella being quite grown up for her age, I would have struggled so much more. I think that she was like just very mature at 18 months. Even throughout the pregnancy, I just found that she was so understanding and really helpful for her age. Like, go back and look at previous vlogs if you don't know what I mean, because she was just very helpful and really sweet. And Ella is like that generally. I feel like you're so far away. I'm going to bring you closer. See the age gap you're talking about? Generally speaking, that kind of age group I find just look for a task. So that doesn't matter whether it's go over there and pick up that toy or whatever, or if it's go and get me a nappy. They love having a task, because at that age, I find anyway, even looking at both my kids, they just want something to do. And the fact they get that little bit of independence, you don't realise how helpful you can make your firstborn to help you with your second. So I think that the way that I coped mostly was having a routine. I say this all the time and I feel like a broken record. See, if I wasn't up and ready and out the door, or even at least ready to go out the door at 9 o'clock, I couldn't get back out until after lunchtime, because by the time you then start doing things, they then need fed, Charlie then needed fed, then it was time to tidy up, then it was lunchtime, and then it was the dog needed walked. It was so hard. So I think that primarily for me, getting myself ready and doing the quickest possible routine in the morning, just have my clothes ready the night before, get a quick wash. Like, you do, see if you've got enough time to go and do a pee, you've got enough time to quickly jump in the shower and give yourself a wash. I always did that. Like, I never tried to do the whole I'm a mum, I can't get a shower thing. Like, I just tried my hardest to be like, right, even if it's for 30 seconds, if I've got enough time to wash my hands, I can quickly strip, get in the shower, get washed, and instantly feel better about myself. So as much as you don't want to give yourself pressure, because it is a hard time, there's things that I find where little ticks or annoyances of mine that if I didn't have them done, like ticky boxes, it would really annoy me for the rest of the day. And that's when mentally I feel like you would start to feel like things were slipping from you. So having control over, like, say, write down 5 tasks, which is what I used to do, and it would be things like get a shower, right? Simple things. Get a shower, get dressed, make sure that you put on one washing, make sure you make yourself a dinner, and, for example, clean all the surfaces before bed. If I done those 5 simple tasks, if I did those things every single day, I'd feel like I'd accomplished so much, and it was the things that were keeping the house ticking over. So for me, I think that if you have a routine, that's how you cope. The days that I never had routine, it was out the window. And the thing is, your kids will always have a different routine, but that doesn't mean that you can't still have the things that you do every day. So they might not sleep through the night, but you can still get a shower in the morning. There's things like that I just found, like, I just had to make sure that there was things that I did for myself every single day, even if it was making sure I, like, gave myself a cup of tea in the morning. Things that I kept part of my solid routine, that even if the kids were like all over the place and their routines were crazy and they weren't sleeping, or one was like thrown up or whatever, or one wasn't feeding, usually Charlie, then I still had my ticky box and my routine was still going, even though theirs was like up in the air. Does that make sense? So there was things that I felt like, the things you can control them. The things that you can't really control, that's fine. Just make sure that it slips into your everyday. And also remember that every day is new. So see, like, 5 minutes of like things being all over the place, because you will, like, there's so many, I could go on about this subject for ages, right, because I've already spoke for 5 minutes about it, but there are things that I find that there's moments, right, that is like my most loved memories. See that age gap, that kind of like Charlie being newborn and Ella being 2, Like, I love my life right now, but if I had to pick a year to relive, it would be that year. I loved that year so much. I loved being off my work. I loved building my YouTube channel. I loved all the new opportunities that were coming with that. I loved the fact that I was seeing 2 kids that we'd made just bond together. We were planning our wedding. There was loads of stuff going on that year, and actually, as much as you'll think like, oh my god, it's going to be really, really hard, there's so many more enjoyable parts about that time, for me, from my experience, than stressful. And I think for me, I just kept, like, there's a mantra that I kept saying to myself all the time, which was, it's not a bad day, it's just a bad 5 minutes. And see if you can go over that, you can do anything. So good luck, it will be absolutely fine, and give your firstborn lots of tasks because they love that, and it means you can always keep a tab on what they're doing. I've got one here, it says random, but is the upper baby Vista worth it? Definitely. It is absolutely amazing, that pram. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. The basket at the bottom of that pram is enormous, and where we used to live before, there was an Asda just next to me, so I used to just walk the kids together to Asda or to like a bigger shopping centre and just do my daily shopping, whatever, just pick up bread, milk, nappies, wipes, all that stuff. See the bottom basket, it is so big, it's amazing. So I loved it for that. I also felt like, for me, the kind of size of it, some of the tandem prams I think are really compact, whereas the upper baby Vista, I used to keep Charlie on the bottom and Ella on the top. And then she would be able to kind of like see what was going on and stuff. The actual seats for them are really big, because sometimes I find as well, when you put your baby into the buggy seat, they look nice and compact, but see, as soon as they hit 2, or if your child's quite big, it looks like they're just slipping out, whereas the upper baby didn't have that. So I don't know if you're talking about it being a tandem pram, but the great thing about the upper baby is, if you want to turn that into a tandem pram, so if you have another baby soon, all you need to do is spend, I think it's £120 to buy clips to put all the parts together. It's really, really good. Like, it's very good. So basically, when you get your chassis, your sleep, your, what's it called, carry cot, and then your seat, obviously that comes as a travel set. If you have another baby, all you need to do is buy a set of clips that clip onto the sides of the handrails, or the handlebar part, and then you can put the seat on as well, so you can have the seat and the carry cot, and then you just have to buy another seat to put the other seat on the front if you want to do like a double buggy. It's a very, very good pram, definitely worth the money. I think my one I had was in graphite, just all grey, and it washes like a ribbon as well. So if you are looking for a pram, I cannot recommend that one enough. It was actually my friend Sarah who had one for her little girl, and then she had a wee boy as well, and the 2 of them again were in the same travel system for a while. So definitely recommend it. The wheels are amazing. It's not got inflatable tyres, it's like the foam ones, which again I would recommend, because the last thing you want is a burst tyre in your pram. So yeah, really love the Upper Baby Vista. That's an amazing pram. The next one is, how is Charlie's sleep and dream fear coming along? Not great, to be honest. If you don't already know this, it's the saddest thing ever, but my son Charlie, who is 4, thinks that when you go to sleep and you go to your dreams, you actually leave your house. So he thinks that when he's going and like dreaming about being at the park, he thinks that when he sleeps it's like another world, that he actually gets up and leaves and doesn't know his way home. It's really sad. A lot of you guys have actually messaged me saying that you think that Charlie is a dream traveller, because apparently that is like, some people believe that's a thing, which just blows my mind, and I am kind of open to the thought of that, but I don't know if it's as much as like his actual body, but I think like spiritually he thinks he's left the house. So I don't know, maybe it's something that he's not been closed off to yet in his mind, but he thinks that he physically leaves the house and goes out. And it's so sad, because that's fine if he was having a good time, but some of the times he's having dreams about things like, he was really into Batman for a while there, he still likes it, but he's kind of went on to Mario Brothers, which seems to be a big trend. If anyone else has got 4, 5, 6-year-old boys, they're all into Super Mario now. It's a big thing. So he is into Mario a lot just now. He still likes Batman, but we're on to Mario, so he's more thinking about things like Mario Land than Gotham City. I think it's definitely helped, because before he would say things like, I'm scared to go and see the Joker, I'm scared of the Penguin, and in his dreams he was obviously thinking about those things because he's playing the games all day. Like, he's playing with the figures, he's watching it, he's watching the programmes, and I definitely think that's impacted it a lot. Actually getting to bed now has been much, much better, so he's not screaming saying that he's like scared to leave me, But I don't know, I honestly think with things like that, it's just a case of like getting over it, letting them get bigger, letting them grow out of it. It's just a phase, but it is really, really sad. And a lot of the time I'm just sitting with him at bedtime until he falls asleep, and more often than not he will wander through to my room at like 5 in the morning, have a cuddle, which I was so against before, but see now I'm just like, I will never get that again. See when he's older and he's like, I don't know, 15, he's not going to come in me and Fraser's bed anymore, so I'm just lapping it up. And to be honest, they both do it now. They come through at like 7 for a 15-minute cuddle or whatever, and then we get up for the day. So I really do enjoy that, but he's not been coming in at like 2 in the morning and then, you know, starfishing the bed all night, which has been much better. So I suppose the answer to that is he has improved, but it's definitely not gone, and I'm finding it so hard. Like in his head he is utterly convinced that he's leaving the house and he's worried he doesn't know his way home. So I'm kind of just having to go along with that, because it's really hard to explain to him that your dream is just like a movie in your head. He doesn't get that. He honestly thinks he's leaving the house. So I think he's just young and doesn't understand what's going on. So again, things like that, they're another reason why I've thought that deferring him a year for school, like not starting him at 4 and waiting until he's 5, is just an absolute certainty for me, which we got confirmation the other day that he's been accepted. So that's really good. I feel like it's such a relief that he gets to still be like a little baby still, like for a year. I think it's just good for him. So that's how we're coming along with the dream fear, and actually so many of you asked that question, so thank you for being so concerned and for asking after him. That was really nice. Next question is, what kind of dancing did you do? I did cheer and I did hip hop, but like that was my more kind of like teenage years I did those. When I was younger I did tap, ballet, modern, all that stuff growing up, and then I went into cheer and it totally changed my life. Like I loved cheer so much. I did lots of stunts and I did like just various like gala days and all that stuff, and then it kind of got a bit more like on the professional end, if you like. We started going to huge competitions, trying out for national teams, went to Florida twice and competed in America. It was amazing. So it was mad, because when we were younger people were like, oh, cheer's not a real sport, and we were like, are you joking? We literally break fingers and break our wrists and break our legs and all that doing this sport. So I think now it is actually a recognised sport, and Ella is now doing cheer as well. Growing up I absolutely loved it. It was my total pride and joy, obsessed with it. It kept me really fit, like stretch wise. I cannot believe how much I used to be able to bend. Now I can barely lace my shoes. But yeah, Ella's now into it, so I loved cheer so much, and I loved hip hop as well. But see, now I've got no rhythm. It totally disappears. I actually remember when I was younger thinking like, this will be me forever, I'll always be able to dance. Not anymore. Sidestep and like reeling in my friends. Here we go. Next question was, are you definitely off the idea of baby number 3? I don't ever remember saying I was. I don't know. I think maybe like 2 years ago we'd said, right, let's go for it, let's have another baby, about a year after moving in here. And then nothing ever really happened, and I don't know, I've never really spoke about that on here per se, but it just never really happened. And I think because Ella and Charlie's age gap is nothing, part of me does wonder that now, if it didn't happen now, then what would happen? Like if it happened right now, I'd be totally delighted, like I'd be absolutely over the moon. But part of me thinks that if I leave it too long, then I don't want them to be like too old and then have a younger one and not be able to do stuff together. So that is a kind of slight worry for me. Not a real worry, but like obviously I would prefer them to be tight in age just so we can keep things similar. Although the price of the dancing, I'd be quite happy to have another boy. On that note, by the way, no one's asked this, but if I was to have another baby, I would not care what gender. I was never like that anyway, because I just feel like you're lucky to have one regardless. The next question is, if you had to change Ella and Charlie's names, what would you change them to? Charlie would either be Teddy or Frankie. What are they doing down there? They've just come back in and they're like a bag of cats. And Ella's would be Georgia. That's the names. Charlie was always going to be Charlie regardless when he was born. That was his name. We never did any other names. That was the one name we loved. Fraser liked Archie, or was it Alfie he liked? Alfie or Archie, but we definitely knew it was Charlie regardless. But if we had another baby and it was a boy, I reckon Teddy's top of my list. And if we had another girl, then I like Georgia or Georgie. That was it, Georgie. Nice names. Next question is, are you still loving your Dyson Airwrap? Yes, I love it. I've used it today in a different way. I've just made my hair kind of more flicky, kind of more like a blow dry kind of look instead.
There's no
What is
thing.
that?
It's a snail shell.
What's that, Katrina?
Shell. And do you know what? I found one
Let me see.
at Granny and Grandpa's.
You found a snail shell. Wow.
And I'm going to keep it in my snail collection.
Are you? See, if you, there was one, like I'm doing a Q, it's called a Q&A, so like people ask questions and then I give the answers to them. One of the questions was, if you had to change Ella and Charlie's name to something else, what would you change it to? What would you change your name to if you could change it?
Ella Bella Smella. Just joking. Ella Bella.
You change it to Ella Bella? You would
Because
change your name, like if you had to do a completely different name without the sound Ella in it.
Oh, okay. What about Chella?
That says Ella in it.
Okay. What about...
Like think of a completely different name, even if you've got a friend's name or just a name you've heard that you really like. I think I know what you're going to say, so I've just mouthed it. Go on then.
J-O-S-E-E.
What? Josie? Josie? Who's Josie?
Hey, Joanne.
Your dance teacher? Hey baby Josie?
Yeah. They call her...
They call Joanne Josie sometimes, don't they? Do you want to sit next to me while I do these?
Yeah.
It's so funny. I thought you were going to say Rosie because you always call your babies Rosie. Ella just said there, one of the questions were, if you could change Ella and Charlie's name to a different name, what would you change it to? And what did you say?
Josie.
No. First of all, you went Ella Bella Smella. And then I said no, but it's got to be a different name. It sounds nothing like your name. And what did you say?
Ella Bella.
No. Remember? It was
Josie.
Josie. And I said, how come Josie? What?
What did you say?
I said probably Georgie or Georgia. But she said Josie, and I went, is that because that's what they call Joanne? But see, the older girls they call Joanne Josie, but I didn't think you'd ever know that.
I hear, because I always hear in kids saying Josie because it's their mum.
Why did she not call her mum?
Pardon?
Why did she not call her mum?
No, I don't know.
I thought you called Mummy Ash.
What? Don't.
No,
You start calling me Ash.
I don't want to
No?
start calling you Ash.
Oh, careful with my slip. So we have been to America. We have been to North Carolina. My aunt stays there. So we've been there a few
Where can I
times.
put these?
Downstairs in the fridge, is that okay?
Well, can we just have Daddy to them?
Yeah, ask Daddy to do it then.
Daddy!
Yes, my aunt stays in North Carolina, so I've been there quite a few times. And then we've also travelled to Washington. We've also been to Florida. So I have been to America. I'd love to go in more places though. Like I think when the kids are older, we say this all the time, because we had them quite young. I reckon by the time they're teenagers we can do like bigger travels together while we're still quite young. So yeah, I'd love to do more in America. I've really not even scratched the surface, to be honest. Right, next question is, are you enjoying your Dyson Airwrap? Yes. I've used it today to do a different kind of style. I've got the kind of blow dry brush one that I've just kind of flicked the ends out and then flicked the ends of my layers out, which has just been a kind of different way to use it, which I've not really done before. So it's kind of straight but just bouncy at the end. So I love that, but do you know what I use it for a lot? On the kids' hair, because you can pull the, careful, see, because you can pull down the heat setting quite low. I use it on Ella's hair and I use it on Charlie's as well. Sometimes what I'll do sometimes what I'll do with his hair is I kind of like blow dry it forward, because he gets like that kind of cow's lick at the back. And I sometimes curl her hair with it and she loves it. So I definitely get my use of it anyway, that's for sure. YouTube love, I'm originally from Glasgow and love your accent.
Sweetheart.
What was that?
Bye bye, sweetheart.
Bye, sweetheart. Yeah, I don't really think I've got an amazing like Glaswegian accent. Sometimes I feel like it depends, right? So I've got a little bit of a sore throat today, and I think that when my throat's sore, I speak more slang. There's a theory for you. I think that when I'm like, I've got a sore throat, it's actually more effort to speak well than what it is to just speak a bit more slang. It's weird. And also on the podcast, if any of you listen to our podcast, The Good Motherhood, we're on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. I'll leave links to that. I've actually changed my description so it's got that on it always, so you can always click on there, and usually at the end of my videos I've got an end card that will show you a link to it as well, because we're also on YouTube, so if you want to listen on YouTube instead of Spotify and Apple, then you can do that. But when Lauren, Ailey and I are together, when we talk, I am so surprised any of you know what we're saying, because we speak so fast and so unbelievably slang. It's ridiculous. Anyway, yeah, but thanks for that. That fills me with great confidence. It's so funny though, because in Scotland there are so many different versions of the Scottish accent. I suppose it's the same as an English accent. There's tons of different variants, but considering the size of Scotland, we have very, very different sounding accents across the country. The next question is, any more babies? I'd love one. I love being a mum. Love having babies in the family, and I would definitely love another. I don't really know if it's going to happen, like if it's on the cards, that'd be great, but if it doesn't, I'm happy with Ella and Charlie. I'm so content. I don't feel as if I'm going, oh but I really need 3, but I would absolutely love to have another baby. I just think, like, why would I not? It's a total gift. I know that's so cheesy. That is so cheesy. Can't believe I just said that, but it is. It's like amazing. If I was given another one and be someone else's mum, I would love that. Actually, I think that, see, once they're older, I would love having 3 grown-up families to visit. Like, see, when I'm older and I'll be like, who's having mum for Sunday dinner? And I'll be like texting the group chat. That would be me. I'd do it for selfish reasons in the future. Next question is, can you do a house tour or tour of the bedrooms? I can do a tour of the bedrooms, but I cannot do a house tour now. We have so many unfinished things, and I think that's the reason why I've not really been vlogging, because I think my house actually looks a state just now. Everything is just all over the place. I need to get a carpet on the stairs and then the upstairs landing because there's none. I need to finish a bit of painting. I need to repaint or do the second coat of paint in the kitchen door, because that just looks like something from a horror movie. The new room in the garage isn't finished. We need to get some plastering done. I need to put up a blind and curtains in there. I did get dining chairs though, hallelujah. They eventually came back in stock, but I feel like I can't do a full house tour until it's done because it's really unfinished now. There are quite a few things that we need to finalise before I can do a house tour, but I don't think it's too far away, like definitely this year. I need that carpet though because it's driving me nuts. We had to replace it though because we had Maggie as a puppy, like up and down stairs. She was like having accidents, and I feel like I never fully get rid of the smell, so we just completely replaced the carpet, so that needs done. Questions on the diet, like calorie counting and everything. Actually, I've just done a favourites video there and talked about protein water. Oh my god, so good. If you are really struggling to get your protein up and your calorie count, then that is like a game changer. So basically you put a scoop of the clear whey. It just tastes like flavoured water, but that's got 20 grams of protein in it, and it's only 80 calories, so it's really good and it tastes nice. So I think that's really going to help me coming forward the next few weeks. But so far I've lost 17 pounds, and you know what, I've still got a long way to go because I'm still overweight. I'm still really overweight, and I'm still away from fitting in my jeans and stuff, but my body shape's definitely changing as I'm getting older, and I'm finding it harder to shift the weight from what I had before. But I've lost just over a stone, and that just shows how much weight I'd actually put on, because I just hid from my camera for the whole of last year, like the tail end of it, because I was so embarrassed. And it's just sad because I know a lot of people feel like that, but I just could not face going in the camera. I just couldn't face it, and even though I can still see that my face is much fuller than what I was when I first started YouTube, and obviously I was like nearly 5 years younger. But yeah, I think that I've put on a lot of weight, and I don't feel like myself, but I'm starting to feel more like myself. And I think diet wise, I'm finding that before I would go off the rails at the weekend and then continue it through the week, whereas now if I do have a night where I just don't track anything, I'm just straight back on it on a Monday. So I will do a little diet update. If you like these chatty videos, then I'll do a little like kind of diet update and show you meals that I like having. But yeah, diet's still going good, and I'm still definitely on it. Even if I have 2 days off where I'm just kind of not counting, I'm right back on it the next day. So that is definitely part of the process, is just not letting yourself feel like having a week off means you need to like completely forget it and give up. Just going back on it again is much better than completely giving up. What was your job before YouTube and Instagram? So before YouTube, I was a business analyst for Barclays Bank. I did payments, and it was very, very different to what I'm doing now. Completely different. In fact, I'm not even sure that my job's still there because I'm certain that a lot of this stuff went automated. I had to manually key in payments that would be going from like one currency to another, and it was a long day. It was I don't know, I think it just wasn't what I ever pictured myself doing, to be honest. I was never really that interested in it, like growing within the business and progressing. I was just happy being where I was, but I knew that I didn't want to do that forever. Like I went into like a more sort of arts based degree, like I did fashion and business, and then to go like from that into banking was so completely opposite. But I did it because we had a house and we had a mortgage and we had to get money, so I went into that job, and I really liked the friends that I met. Like I met a lot of nice people from there that I still keep in touch with now, and yeah, it was a nice environment actually, like being in the big office that was in town, and I was always able to like grab a wee coffee on the way there and like go to the shops on the way home and stuff. It was good like from that perspective, and like socially it was good. But I knew that I didn't want to do it forever, and in fact I'm certain, almost certain now, that that job doesn't exist anymore. I could be wrong, but yeah, I'll met so many nice people in Barclays. And in fact when I was starting my YouTube channel, my whole team were like, or the people I spoke to in my desk, I talked to them all the time and be like, what will I call this? What will I call this YouTube channel? They were so supportive. It was my friend that sat next to Lynn that was like, you need to do that, you need to go and do YouTube. I watch YouTubers all the time, and she's like, if I was 20 years younger I would definitely go and do YouTube. And it just gave me the confidence to go and do it. So I used to sit on my lunch break and plan blog posts, because at that point I was just blogging, and then I was like, nah, I'm too chatty for this, I need to go on a camera and just do YouTube. So yeah, I worked for Barclays before. What future reno or decorating do you have planned? I need to definitely finish the stairs, that's the priority for me. I also need to finish the garage like I said, but last year we did the bar, or Fraser did the bar outside, and stupidly we put out ceramic tiles and they all shattered when it started snowing, so we need to replace them. But luckily we've got spare porcelain tiles from downstairs and from our bedroom that we're hoping if we just scrape it back we can probably tile it ourselves. So we'll hopefully get that finished so that by the time it comes Stella's birthday in the next couple of weeks, we're having friends in the garden, so we don't want to have that looking a mess. That's the next thing that we need to do to finish. And in the garden as well, actually, once that's done I'll do a little tour, because we have finished the back planter. Oh my god, how many bags did it actually take to fill that? You don't even want to know. I've put in 2 phoenix palm trees, I've put in climber plants, and I've also put in an apple tree, and I've put in little buxus balls, and it just totally finishes that bit off. So yeah, really happy with how the garden's looking, thank god that it's not looking like a tip at the back anymore. Tons and tons of questions on diets, lots of these are like crossovers, lots of questions on if I'm having any more babies, lots and lots of questions on the diet, lots on Charlie's sleep, can't believe how many is on that. Do you have cleaning days or just clean as you go? I used to have cleaning days. I used to spend every Wednesday cleaning the bathrooms, and I want to get back to doing that because I've let that slip, but I pretty much clean as I go now. And I think because my house doesn't like finished, I'm really unmotivated to do it. It's annoying because that is literally the one thing that's holding me back, is because I feel like having no carpet upstairs and on the stairs, the dust just collects, so I'm like constantly hoovering floorboards. So I need to get a carpet, like desperately need to get a carpet this week. It's on the to-do list, get a carpet ordered and get it put down. Someone's asked here, how do you find the great lengths extensions? Can you see them when your hair's up? Now, I actually asked my mum this question because we spend quite a lot of time together, and she said that she never realised I had extensions in for ages, and then I was like, I've had these in for like 2 months. You can't see them, you honestly can't, like the way that they've been bonded. Because I've not got a full head of extensions, maybe that's why, I've only got a volume roll which just evens out the bits that are a bit more broken, if you like. So I think, I don't know how many I've got in my hair, but I've literally got like a row of them just to give a wee tiny bit more thickness and more like evening out the length of my hair. But I love them so much. If you're looking for someone to go to in Glasgow, this is a bit further away from where I stay actually. It's a place in Bothwell. The girl, her name is Christina Riley. She is amazing, like she's honestly unbelievable and so quick. So I think for what I've got, it's £130 for a volume roll or £125. Let me just check that because I've had mine done twice now. It's really affordable, I think, £130 for extensions, and mine lasted. I got mine done in August last year, and then lockdown happened so I couldn't get them out. But I had them from then all the way through till 3 weeks ago when I got them replaced, which is mad. And see, the condition of the actual hair was amazing, and I had a few mats but not much, in my own hair when I got them taken out. I think I had a 2-week break between getting them out and getting them back in again, and my hair was fine, so unaffected by it. So definitely worth going and checking out Christina if you're looking for hair extensions, because I think that's so reasonably priced as well. And sometimes people think they need a full head of extensions, but a volume roll is often enough rather than getting like a full head done. Really good. What is 2 things you would say to your 16 or 18-year-old self? We did a whole topic on this on the Good Motherhood podcast. I think I would say, like, your friendship groups that you've got right now will probably not remain the same friendship groups as what you'll get when you're older. Things just change, people grow, you change, you're kind of like in like a bubble of primary and secondary school friends when you're that age, and you kind of think that's like the be all and end all, but it's not even like out of badness, but people just grow apart, like things change. You then maybe start getting friendly with people at work because you see them all the time, or maybe you'll start being friendly with your partner's like friend's partner. So like for me, example from like me, it's Ailey. Like Fraser and Andy are really good friends, so me and Ailey are really good friends because we're the wives of those 2 friends. Like it just changes, doesn't it? So I think I would say that to myself, that like it's fine, you'll always like have a good group of friends, and actually you'll get really close friends, but not until you're in your 20s, which is amazing for me. Like my friends I've got just now are like, I've got some really close friends, but they're not all part of the same friendship group, which I think is really important as well. Like I've got friends from my old work, I've got friends from my street, I've got friends from school, I've got friends from Fraser's friends. Like it's mad how that kind of like evolves. But yeah, I definitely think I would say that to myself. That'd be the one thing I would say. Don't worry about fallouts with friends or whatever, because you'll not have the same group of friends from when you're 5 until you're 90. Like it might not always be the case. And another thing I would say to myself is don't worry about money, because I used to always worry about money, because things just adapt as you get older. Like I used to always sit and think, how on earth do you pay for a mortgage and a car and all these things? But you get used to it. So I think that is one thing I'd say, or 2 things I'd say to myself. Don't worry about money, and don't worry about friendships, because it all just starts to come together as you get older. Someone just said here, can you do a makeup tutorial? I did one, so that'll be on my channel already hopefully. If not, it'll be the next video that goes on. Bit personal, but your boobs look great. What type of bra do you wear? I love this question so much. I hate my boobs. So like honestly, I breastfed both my kids. You do not want to see these out of a bra. I am desperate to get a reduction. Like I can't even explain it. I've been for a consultation and everything. I am desperate for a reduction. It really hinders me in clothing and stuff. But bra wise, I've been using bras from Primark, which aren't great, but I started wearing bras from George Asda. They've got a plus, like DD plus range, which in fairness, I don't really know any friends of mine. Majority of people I know are at least a D. Like I don't know anyone really who is A to C. I would actually say more often than not, people have got larger boobs. Like I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Like most of my friends have got to go for DD plus always. Even like friends who are really slight have still got bigger chests than a C. I don't know what it is, but anyway, I get them from Asda, and the sets that they have are gorgeous. I don't know the name of the range, but I'm certain it's something to do with Kelly Brook. That could be a complete lie, I don't know, but I love that range so much. So yeah, check out Asda the next time you're in, they're really nice. Is this your forever home? Like I don't know, like forever's a long time, isn't it? Like I'd like to think that we would probably stay in this house. We've bought it quite young, that's one thing I would say. So like going the way it's going, if we don't remortgage, then this house will be paid off by the time we are like 40, 45, is that right? I think that's right, like 40 something. So before we're 50, this house would be paid, which is an amazing position to be in. So if that happens and we don't remortgage and we don't extend or anything, then that's where we're sitting at, unless we had to move. But I think that where this house is, how close I am to my family, like the situation, the whole thing fits for me. The only thing I would say is the back of my house can get quite dark, so I would potentially like to extend at the back to make the kitchen a different shape and to brighten up and maybe put in some more window space, like bifolding doors or like floor to ceiling glass panels. I don't know, but I would love to do that. I think before I moved house I would buy something else. So if we were ever lucky enough to be in a position where we had like money available to move, I'd probably stay where I am because I love this house and I love what we've done, and it's like I love the way I've decorated it and all that kind of stuff. If we had a position where we could potentially buy something like a small flat, rent it out, that kind of thing, do it up, sell it on, like make loads of cool videos like showing renovation, I'd love to do that. Or I'd like to buy somewhere abroad. I'd like to buy somewhere in Spain. So I think before we even thought about moving, because we're quite happy this size of house, like the bigger the house the more cleaning there is. I'm happy with my house. I love the rooms, they're all good sizes, the location's good, but if we had money to move, I think we'd be more inclined to try and buy something else and rent it out and have like a separate stream of income maybe. That would be the plan. We've both spoke about that, like if that was an option, that's what we would do before we would move house, because we don't need any more space. We really don't need any more. Like obviously this is not, for some people might look at this house and think it's huge, and some people might look at my house and think that's quite small, especially depending on where you're watching from, because in the UK I think this is quite a good sized house, but a lot of people in the States are messaging saying God, UK houses are so small, because they are. Like in the States the houses are huge, the lands are bigger, it's just a totally different thing. But I'm happy where we are, so I think that we probably would stay here and maybe have somewhere to disappear to across in Spain or something if we did have the money. I say this as if it's going to happen, probably won't, but like if it did, then that's what I'd like to do. Someone asked, how did you get into cold water therapy? Can you just talk a bit more about it please? I am going to do a whole video on this because I feel like there's loads of questions asking the same thing, and I briefly spoke about it in my favourite video as well, just like speaking about why I do it and stuff. But how did I get into it? It was my mum. My mum said to me one day, she showed me a photo of her in water, and I was like, when was that? And she said, this morning. I was like, it's raining outside. So she spoke about it and she was like, you need to do it, it's amazing, you'll love it. And that's how I get into it. So yeah, I'll do a whole separate video on that, so if you have got questions for cold water therapy, leave them on the comments below, or even send me a message on Instagram, and then I'll do a whole separate video on that and go into more detail. Loads of questions about diet, loads of questions about baby number 3, and loads of questions about house renovation. So I think we covered like all the main topics. There is one question that I am going to answer though that I've not answered just now, is do you struggle with being online with comments regarding you, your kids, your weight, your family life, etc. I did before, right? I really did, and I used to always pretend to myself that I never, like, oh it's fine, just ignore it, it's their problem, not yours. I was struggling so much like in the last few years. Just, I think you start to see, if you read something often enough, you start to believe it yourself. Like I was reading things going, she's so fat, and then I started to put on loads and loads of weight, and you start to like live into like what you're reading. It's mad. So things like that, and then there was just loads and loads of negative comments that made me start to have a lot of self-doubt. Like I'd be quite happy one day and then I would read something like, she's terrible, she prefers one kid to the other, and I'm like, did I come across like that? Like I prefer one to the other, because I genuinely could not be further from the truth. Like the kids are so different that you couldn't even possibly compare the love you've got with them. It's bizarre. So I think there's things like that that used to make me feel like, oh my god, like am I really a bad person? I swear I used to think I'm such a bad person, I'm awful, I'm really terrible, I'm a bad mum, and I'd like, am I putting a picture on Instagram because it's for attention? Like I'd start asking myself these questions, and it's mad because I'm not doing anything different from what other people do, just on a smaller scale, like sharing pictures with friends. That's all I'm doing. So I think that it's mad how other people's collective like bitching and gossip can make you doubt yourself so much. It's mad. But I think it's been a real good eye-opener for me to realise, you know, how I feel mentally, because I didn't realise until now how bad I was the last couple of years with all that stuff. It would make me literally cry to sleep, couldn't sleep. I'd be up all night stressing and worrying and reading stuff and whatever, and see now I just literally could not give a shit. Like I honestly could not care less. I think it's fine, see if people want to go and speak. I now get to the point where I'm like, that's up to them. Let's see if they want to go and speak about me, that's absolutely, it's fine. I don't mind. They can go and speak about me, it's absolutely fine. Like it really doesn't, obviously I would prefer if people never did it, right? But I think it's naive to think people don't talk. The way I see it is the negative comments are just like having an insight into people's private chat. Does that make sense? So if people want to speak, that's absolutely fine. That literally doesn't bother me at all. I don't really have much more to say on that. Do you ever get angry with the kids' behaviour and how to deal with it? Yeah, definitely. I always get annoyed with things like, I think it's not it's not natural not to get annoyed. Like, it does annoy me. Sometimes I have to go like, right, don't get angry with that and deal with it a different way, but the kids definitely get in trouble. You have to. They can't go through their full life not getting into bother. So I just don't sit and film it, because I think that's actually really irresponsible. I would never embarrass my kids. Like, see, when they speak about the whole sharing your children online, I would never put something on that I think is going to embarrass them when they're older. So I would never say, right, people are saying that my life on Instagram's too perfect. Just, can you just hold that cry a second till I grab my phone, right, and go. Keep trying. Shouldn't be doing that. Like, I could never do that. So unnatural. Why would you ever, like, it's just really irresponsible, I think. Personally, I just couldn't do it. There's no way I could give the kids into trouble on Instagram just to make other people feel like it's normal. I just expect, like, it's almost like an expectancy that I have that people will realise that obviously you'll have to give your kids into trouble. Don't get me wrong, they're really good though. Like, the kids are very, very good. The giving into trouble thing is like very few and far between, but I just don't think that filming it is appropriate. That's just the way I feel about it. And then the other question is, do you regret having kids so young? By the way, you're the best mum. You're the best. That's so nice. No, I'm actually glad I did, because originally we'd said like, oh, we'll not have kids till we're like way into our 30s. We want to do this, we want to buy our house and do it up and go out and have holidays and all that. But us having our kids then sparked some of our friends to start having their kids, and see if we never had that snowball thing, all of our kids probably wouldn't be the same age. So like, it's just, I think it's been an amazing thing having our kids so young, because, well, I'm saying so young, there's younger than us obviously, but I feel like we're going to start getting our, it's such a weird thing to say, but I don't know any other words to say it, getting our life back, like getting back a bit more independence as they grow up. Like, say when they're like 18, let's work this out, when Ella's 18 I'll be 40, so that's mad. When Ella's 18 I'll be 40, which means that like for her 18th I'm definitely going to Ibiza with her. I'm joking, but like, we can still do things. Like, when she's 18 I'm not going to be like much older than her, it feels. I don't know. So I think that from that perspective I'm really glad that I had them the age that I did. And also the fact that like I say, we've been kind of like, for the last couple of years, or well, 2 years ago, we were just kind of like trying but not trying, and it never happened. So maybe that was just my like window. I don't know, things happen for a reason. But anyway guys, I'm going to leave it there because we could go on all day. I really hope you've enjoyed listening along. If you do enjoy these kind of chatty videos, then I do think you'd like her podcast. Go and check it out, it's free. It's on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify, so just search The Good Motherhood. I'll leave it linked below as well if anyone wants to go and watch the YouTube videos instead. But it is just that kind of like something on in the background to listen to while you're doing stuff. So if you do enjoy these kind of Q&As, you would like that as well. They are a bit more fun than my Q&A because we've got like each other to bounce off of. It's a bit funnier. But yeah, I will see you soon. Thanks for watching, and I'll chat to you later.